This week on Sundays with Sully, we are hopping on board the all-new Back Cove 412 and giving you guys a quick little walkthrough and showing you what we do when we get everything calibrated and dialed in on a sea trial. Let's hit it. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Sundays with Sully. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below at Navtronics on YouTube to stay up to date and in the know the latest happenings in the marine industry. All right, guys, what are we talking about today? Well, today we're doing it a little bit different. We have a brand new model from Back Cove. This is the Back Cove 412. This is their inboard model, single engine shaft drive. This is the hull number 2 of the 412 model. This is going to be the showboat. This is going to be what's in all the brochures. We were very lucky and privileged to go ahead and be able to do the electronics and technology package for Boston Yacht on this boat. And I want to show you some of the stuff that goes into getting a brand new boat all dialed in, whether that's the autopilot. In this case, we're tying it in with the Garmin and the Optimus steering. We have to get our radar alignment. We have to do our MSC sat compass, the MSC 10 compass there. We have to make sure that the offsets are set for the sounder and all of that stuff, getting that all dialed in. So we're gonna go ahead and make our way out of the harbor here, and we're gonna start showing you what all is involved in making this happen, guys. So let's check it out. All right, so now that we've kind of cleared out of the harbor, we're still in the protected area. We're gonna go ahead, and the first thing we're gonna do is set up our MSC 10 sat compass. Now, you put that on, you're gonna get your position and everything like we've talked about, but you do need to do a calibration on this. And part of that calibration is going into the settings and telling it where it is on board the boat. That means we need to know how far between the bow and the stern, how high off the water it is, so that we have an exact position of where we are. And that can also give us our pitch and heave compensation. Once it knows how high we are, it can start calculating all those things. So once we set that up, we still need to go around and spin it and do all that. So we come into here, we go into settings, we go into communication, we go into NEMA 2000, we go to device list, and we're gonna scroll down until we see the MSC 10 on there. And you're gonna see it says uncalibrated on there. You'll actually see the 24XD is also uncalibrated, so we're gonna do both of those. So we're gonna start with the MSC 10, we're gonna say review, and then we're going to go ahead and we are going to do a compass calibration. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just like everything in the Garmin world, it's gonna walk you through step by step on what to do here. So we say compass calibration. It's gonna say, hey, I need you to turn the boat. I don't care, but I need to turn it 1.5 circles. It can be clockwise, counterclockwise, whatever works for you. Taking a look around, looking at traffic. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do clockwise and go ahead and I'm gonna tell it to start once we get a little headway on here and get the wheel hard over. So we hit begin. And now we're going to get our status bar on here that's gonna go ahead and start scrolling across. So we'll let that do its thing here. We'll speed this process up and we'll be back and show you what the quality score is for this. '88, 90, 91. We are getting in the home stretch here. So we go ahead, bada bing, bada boom. There we are. We have a compass calibration quality of 85. So that is now done. If we want to go ahead and do a fine heading or auto heading alignment, wants us to bring the boat up to a cruise speed. So before we do that, I'm actually going to back up a step and I'm going to do the 24XD GPS antenna as well. So we just back out of there, we say exit, we say back, we come into here, we go to this, we say review, and we say compass cal again, and we say begin, and we're just going to start this circling process all over again. Now the reason I didn't finish that first step, guys, I'm sorry, rather that second step, is because I want to go ahead and just do my circles here, and then we're going to head out of the no wake area, and we're going to knock both of these out at the same time. We can go ahead and we can do this in tiered steps like that while we have this nice calm and protected water to do it. So that's why I do it that way. There's not really a right or wrong, it's just how I'm doing it today on this slightly sunny, slightly foggy day here. So go ahead, let's wrap this up. All right, there we go. Now that one is done, and we got a calibration of 88. So that one is done, but now we need to do the heading alignment on that. So now we're gonna go out to a little bit clearer water. I don't know, it's looking pretty foggy actually out there, but I think we've got a runway. We can go ahead and knock that out. So let's get after it, guys. All right, so now we are gonna go ahead and we are going to do our heading alignment setup on here. Like I said, we've already got our compass calibration done, so we go ahead and go into heading alignment, and it's going to bring the boat to a constant heading, and we're going to go straight here. So we say begin, and it's going to go ahead and do its process. Boom, that one is now done. So now we can come back, we can go do the 24. I think you guys can tell in the video here, but it has gotten pea soup fog again because we are in New England. So we're gonna go ahead and get this wrapped up and head back, and we're going to go do through the rest of the steps here. All right, 24XD is done. Now back out of here, back all the way out. There we are, cruising along. We are all good. So now I'm going to go ahead and we are going to spin around, get out of this impending fog here, head back in, and we're going to check our radar alignment and some of those other things. All right, guys, so next up on the list is making sure our radar is lined up. Now, we have that MSC10, which is awesome, and it gives us a really good alignment. But if it doesn't know where the bow of the boat is with the radar, it's no good to us. So now we need to make sure that we have our radar lined up. So we go ahead, we come into our radar screen, as you can see here. I'm gonna take a quick little sidebar on the radar screen here, guys. You've got a lot of options with this. And you'll look here, it's on the red screen. This is kind of the default screen, if you will, for this. And you can see we have, with the motion scope, we have green and magenta targets. Green going away from us, not a threat. Magenta coming at us, we need to pay attention to it. And red is everything that is stationary. Now, this is my own personal thought process on this, guys. I'm not a fan of the red. Trying to decipher between that magenta and that red isn't necessarily the quickest and easiest thing to do. So I go in here to options, I go to radar setup, I go to appearance, I go to color scheme, I change it to blue. Now, targets coming at me are red. Targets going away from me are green. Everything else stationary is blue. Anybody can look at this really quick and differentiate, as long as they are not colorblind, very quickly and very easily what's going on there. So now that's out of the way, let's go ahead and let's get into the installation menu on this. We get installation and we have front of boat. Now, when you mount that radar, you might think you are spot on center of the boat, but you might be off by a degree or two. So that's where you come in here and you find an ATON, an aid to navigation, a buoy, a fixed object in the water, and you're going to point the bow at it. And then you're going to bring this up and down, meaning left or right, to center up the radar. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and kind of step to the center of the boat. I'm going to use the bow and stern thruster to kind of center us up. And I'm going to say right there, we are center. And looks like that might need to come right just a little bit. So we're going to go up 1 degree, let that do its sweep. We see that it's moved over now. I'm going to go 1 more degree right there. And now we are center line. That's that first dot that's on there. We are now center line. So now our radar alignment is done. We go ahead, we close that out, and now we can come into here. It's not gospel, guys, but if you go to radar overlay, you're going to see now it is overlaying on the land really, really nice, along with all of our targets. We'll go ahead, we're going to zoom out. You can see we're actually just outside of mooring fields. That's why we got a lot of blue behind us there from all the moored boats. But you can start to see traffic coming in and out of the channel there with that red, and green. And this is all done with the Phantom motion scope setup, and this is just on a 24-inch dome radar. The same is going to apply if you have a 4-foot, 6-foot open array as well. You don't even necessarily need to have the motion scope radar function to make sure your heading alignment is spot on. Go ahead and do that. If you haven't done that on your boat, your radar is only returning what it sees, and it assumes the front of the boat is where it's pointed, and you could be off by a degree or two. If you're out here in the fog, that could be all the difference between peeling the side of a buoy or making a safe passage home. So we've got that dialed in. All right, so now that we have the MSC10 done, we have the 24XD done, we have our radar alignment all taken care of, we can talk about the transducer and sounder. Because this boat has a pair of the 9219s in it, those don't have a built-in sounder module. So this needs a standalone sounder module. In this case, we did the GSD25. That is a very good module for this boat and this application. It allows us down the road, if the new owner decides to add a pair of the GT transducers because they want to see what's happening on each side of the boat, they can go ahead and add that and plug that into there as well. But in this case, we have just a single GT15. That's a medium chirp flush mount transducer on here. So we're gonna get a really good image of the bottom. We're gonna be able to see what's underneath us if you want to do a little bit of light fishing, but also if you're cruising and you're coming into anchorages and you need to see what's going on underneath your boat, it's really good. And now this is a minimal setup on here. The same thing again like we had to do for our sat compass. We have to come in here and tell it where it is in the boat so that it can make sure we're getting our heave compensation and all of those kind of features in there. And by doing that, we're going to tell it how far from the stern it is or how far from the bow. And then we're also going to tell it left and right. And then we're going to tell it how far under the water it is or below the water. So that way we can go ahead and make sure we're getting an accurate reading of what we want to see on our screen. We can have that set for true water depth. You can have it depth below the keel or whatever offset you want. You can go ahead and dial that in right there through that. So now that's all taken care of. This fog still isn't lifting, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try and do an autopilot calibration. This shouldn't be a big deal. The only concern I really have about this one here, guys, is with this fog coming and going, is I want to be able to, when the boat is doing its zigzags, obviously, for the autopilot config, to make sure we're not going to have any issues and or disrupt any traffic flows. So go out, let's give it a shot. Let's see if we can get that nailed down next here, guys. All right, guys, now we're going to get after it with this autopilot configuration. We simply come into our autopilot tile on the screen here. We're going to go to installation setup. It's going to give us an alert saying, you know, do you want to continue? Yes, we do. And then we are going to run the wizard. In this case, I'm just going to rerun the dockside wizard first, and then I am going to go do the sea trial portion of it. So we say dockside wizard, we say begin, and we are a power planing hull. And now we're going to check to make sure that left is left and right is right. And we do that by hitting these buttons and watching where our rudder goes to on the rudder reference there. We see left is left, right is right there. So we're good there. Now it's going to ask us, where does it want to get its speed source from? Now, we can get it from the N2K. In this case, that's the Volvo engines. We can get it from the GPS as well. So we're going to go ahead, in this case, let's just say TAC, and we're going to say, now it's going to ask us the engine RPMs because the engine is running and our speed, and it wants to see if that's matching. In this case, it most definitely is. So we say next, and now that is done. So we know we're good there. Now we're going to go about doing a sea trial wizard. And again, same thing, calm protected waters, yada, yada, yada. I'm gonna go ahead and spin this boat around a little bit here just to kind of make sure we've got a little bit more of a runway, because everybody and their brother is out here right now trying to come in from the fog. So as we go ahead, we'll get this boat spun around, get ourselves as much runway and the best chance as possible to make this happen. doing a sea trial for autopilot config on a Sunday, not necessarily recommended in the summer, because everybody's out here and you generally want to have, preferably, some calm water. So let's see what we can make happen here, guys. Go ahead and spin this thing around. And we're gonna go ahead and tell this thing to begin. And it's gonna ask us, where does this boat transition from the planing portion of it? And it does that because we need to know what our rudder responses are going to be for this. So we've got that. We just gotta go ahead and tell it. In this case, we're gonna go down. It was about 2,000. Use the throttle max RPM. This is just so that when you're running the boat, it's not going to overrun basically here. You're going to get an alert for an over RPM. So go ahead, let's bring that down to about 4,000 in this case. We say next. And now, here we go again, guys. We got to do the circles again. So we hit begin, and I start making my circles. I'm going to go ahead and cut a hole in the water here and try and avoid traffic as best as possible for us. We're going to go ahead, and this is also, reminder guys, this is tied in to the Optimus steering system on this Back Cove. So this is using the Optimus RAM and the Optimus controls, and then the Garmin is piggybacking onto that. So we've got that going on. So here we go, making the turn. We're about 50%, 54%. People in the harbor, I'm sure, are certainly confused by this point in time of what this guy is doing over here. But it's just Sundays with Sully, guys. We're out here getting boats done, making things happen. All right, 1.25. Here we go, coming up on 1.5 right now. It's gonna go ahead. Let's see what we got. Does it succeed? There we go, come on. Yahtzee, we got a 93. That's pretty damn good. Gonna go ahead and keep making our circle. And then this is where the boat is going to do the zigzag turns. So up here in New England, it's always a fight between lobster pots, other boats, and everything else. Being on a Sunday, it's gonna be less than ideal. But let's see if we got a little window here we can make it happen. You don't have to be going fast for this portion of it. It even says on here below planing speed. It's just trying to figure out, by putting in rudder input left and right, how does the boat respond? And it keeps going back and forth with that. So go ahead and straighten this girl out here. And we are going to begin. Give it just enough so that it can do its thing. All right, so now as you look on the camera from the mast looking behind us here, as I get that all cut in, you can start to see how this boat is making those S turns, doing left and then right, and it's just adding slightly more rudder each time, and it's seeing how does the boat respond while it is doing that. So it's learning the boat and learning the boat parameters. Hey, if I give it 2 degrees of rudder, how quickly does that respond? If I give it 5 degrees left rudder, how quickly does that respond? So that's why you need to give it a long enough runway to allow for that to happen. And I think, knock on a little bit of wood here, guys, we might bypass this without having to hit the old reset button due to boat traffic and or lobster pots. So let's see what we've got here, guys. We're coming up on 86%. Come on, we are in the home stretch. Lucky number 7. Let's see what you got. Woohoo! All right, guys, we have success. So now we go ahead, we're gonna tell it to do the next step. I'm gonna bring the other screen up on here, and I'm gonna do a radar overlay because it is going to be a little bit foggy. What does it want us to do? It wants us to go ahead and we're gonna come out of this no wake zone here, and I'm gonna bring the boat up to a little bit of speed, and we're gonna let it find its heading. This is the same thing we just did for the MSC10 as well as the 24XD. It's the same process, the same sequence of steps to make that happen. So go ahead, looks like we got a clear runway on the radar. Gonna go ahead and bump this thing up and let's see what we can make happen, guys. Just like that. the radar, oh sorry guys, the autopilot is now calibrated. Sea trial wizard complete. We go ahead, we say done, we say clear out there, and now we can go ahead and engage our autopilot. Now we have our heading hold, as you can see here, and we have our 1 and 10 degrees. So we can go ahead, validate this by telling it we want to go 10 degrees, and now it's going to go ahead and make that turn, and I'm going to keep an eye on it here. What we're looking for now at this portion of it is that it doesn't overshoot it, or that if it does, how quickly is it coming back on course. We don't want this thing meandering all over. What we want this thing to do is to be able to respond fairly quickly. So we make a 20-degree turn here, we go ahead, and now it's gonna go ahead and bring us right back to that. And it's responding really nice. I'm gonna call that a really good calibration. If we had a little bit more open water, I would go ahead and I would open it up and I would bang all 4 corners in 90-degree increments and make sure we are tracking straight on all of them. Feel pretty comfortable that we are in good hands with this. If we're not, we can always come back out here and readjust it. The last step for this is for me to now give this thing a waypoint to have to steer to. So I come over to my chart plotter over here and I say, hey, let's go there. And I say auto guidance and I say start navigation and we say cancel. Now we've got that going on. Oops, I gotta say I want to go to it. Auto guidance. Nope. We say start navigation. Now that I've started navigation, we are in heading hold and we say engage. The autopilot is now going to steer to that waypoint. We've got the map up here. You can see I only did it was like 400 feet away, guys, because we're in the fog and everything. But I want to see how quickly does it respond to steering to that and correcting out on that. You can see we're rolling right up on it here. So it's working out really, really well. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put this back into standby and take the helm. We're going to say stop navigating because we've already made it to the mark. And I'm going to turn around here in the fog and we're going to go ahead and make our run back. So as I mentioned, guys, on this one here, we do also have the 90-19 displays. This 412, that was one of the nice changes we actually saw with this boat, was when they redesigned the helm, it was so that there's now room for those 90-19 displays. So you can fit a pair of those on here beautifully, and now you've got really nice large screens, and you can go ahead and bring up any bit of information you want and really kind of parse it out here. And now you can see this radar is still in the red mode, and you see that magenta is kind of hard to see here, guys. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna go to radar setup, we're gonna go to appearance, we're gonna overlay, we're gonna go to blue, and there we go. Now we have changed that back, and we can see our red coming at us. And we know where our hazards are as we are out here in the fog. All right, now that everything is all calibrated and dialed in, the last step here, guys, to make sure you're done and you're ready to rock and roll and we have a successful electronics install here is we go to home, we go to settings, we go to communications, and right down here it says preferred sources. That's the key right there, guys. We want to go into preferred sources and we want to see what everything is set towards. So for our GPS, we can come in here and you can say change source, and it's going to give us the option of the MSC10 or the GPS 24XD. Now, we've got our signal strength that tells us everything we need to know about it right there. The MSC10 is the better heading and GPS. We have more antennas in there, so that's why we select that. And then we can back out of there. And the heading, obviously, same thing again. We can have a couple of different sources. You can have that Reactor 40, the MSC10, or the GPS. And you can even see here, guys, there is some differential in the numbers between all of those. It's what it is. But the MSC10, guys, is going to be your most accurate heading source. It is using GPS antennas. So we've got that there. We come in here, the sounder we set up as our preference radar. You can see we've got our attitude set up right there. We've got our heave set up right there. So we have all of that set up and dialed in. Now, just because I did it on one display, I still have to do it on the other display. So what you need to remember are, whenever we make those changes and those settings like that, they are local. They are not global, meaning just because I changed on one MFD doesn't mean it changed it on all of them. So you might want to have, you know, I don't know why you would want it, but maybe you want to have heading on a different screen, you know, for comparison's sake, and drive yourself nuts because they're never going to match. You can do that. I just recommend you use the MSC10 and it'll resolve all those issues and you'll have the most accurate heading around. So that is the Back Cove 412 electronics install that we've done down here at Hawthorne Cove in Salem for Boston Yacht. This is the Back Cove 412. It is the show boat. It's going to be the photo boat. I think they're going to be doing a photo shoot on this thing here shortly. And you want to check out more? You want to see this install? You want to know more about this boat? It will be at the Newport Boat Show. I am fairly certain. So that's all I've got, guys. We'll see you next week with something cool. Until next time, guys, see if this fog is going to lift and try and put this boat through the paces a little bit more. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.